Now, after the characteristics of forces, we move on to next topic called system of forces. The system of forces is going to tell us how the forces are acting on a body in terms of orientation of forces, in terms of position of the forces over a body. So if the position of the forces changes over a body, different forces are there and they are along the length, then the forces will be acting in a different planes. And here the system of forces also helps us to understand the simplicity or the complexity of the problem and how the problem changes from two-dimensional to a three-dimensional problem. We have very simple problems which involves the application of forces only in one direction also. So how the problem is growing from a one-dimensional to a two-dimensional, and then from the two-dimensional to a three-dimensional. So that is the most complex case. Let's try to see that. So when the several forces of various magnitude and direction act on a body, they set to constitute a system of forces. So here in the system of forces, we have got planar, coplanar, I should say, coplanar and non-coplanar. So in the coplanar, the word coplanar itself, you can understand the forces are lying in the same plane. And if it is a non-coplanar, then the forces are lying in the different plane. Or to be precise, I should say the line of action of the forces, if they are lying in the single plane, then they are regarded as coplanar forces. And same way, if the line of action of the forces is lying in the different planes, then they are regarded as non-coplanar. Under coplanar, we have got another sect or a different classification, that is collinear. Next we have got is concurrent and non-concurrent. So collinear here, if we try to understand, the forces will be acting along a line, along this line, and they will be in different directions. So always they will be acting along this line. So you could say that this would be a one-dimensional kind of a problem, and we are very specific that the problem is only limited to the force analysis only in the x direction. Now, next, if we move to next word, that is concurrent. So in the concurrent, what happens is that the forces will be passing through a single point. So when the forces will be passing through a single point, we try to analyze the action of forces in the x and y plane. So here we will try to resolve the forces along x and y directions. That is when the problem grows to a two-dimensional approach. Same way, if we take up non-concurrent, the forces are going to pass through, or they would lie in the single plane, but they will be having different orientations. So it is the two-dimensional approach, but with non-concurrency. So based on this non-concurrency, the mathematical equations are going to be more. So in the concurrent forces, we would be using resolution of forces along x and y direction, and that is where our problem ends. But if we are taking non-concurrent forces, we would be taking summation of forces in x, y direction, and since the forces have got some distance, line of action of the forces have got some distance between them, then we need to incorporate one more equation, that is moment of the forces. So this is what we have in the coplanar system of forces. Moving to next part, that is non-coplanar sect. So in that we have parallel forces and non-parallel forces. Okay, so next the classification goes in the non-concurrent. We have got parallel forces and non-parallel forces. So under parallel forces, they could be like or unlike. So if the unlike parallel forces are there, they will definitely try to cause the rotation of the body. So we will be able to judge the problems based on this classification, and it's really very important for us to understand this. Okay, so I want to add a point which I missed in the earlier discussion. That is, here we have classified coplanar, and under coplanar, it is about the for line of action of the forces in the plane itself. That is when the problem becomes a two-dimensional. But if it is a non-coplanar, that is when the problem grows to a three-dimensional. So here the problem seems to be more complex, and lot of visualization is needed to understand. So if the visualization becomes easier, then it is easy for us to write or express that visualization of forces mathematically. So it's a very, very vital subject. So as you progress semester wise, you will be finding this technique of visualization, or this understanding of visualization plays a lot more important role. Now let's see all of these classification in detail. So to begin with, first we start with coplanar forces. So coplanar forces, as it was mentioned earlier, the line of action of the forces are going to lie in the same plane. So here you observe that line of action of R as well as the line of action of F2 and F1, they are lying in the same plane. That would be XY plane. Okay, so this is x-axis and this is y-axis. So within xy plane, we are able to find it. Next is non-coplanar forces. So the line of actions which does not lie in the same plane are called non-coplanar forces. So you can see the Q force is present in this plane. Okay, and behind Q, there is a force R that is going to act, and that will be present in a different plane. So distance between these two planes is going to be defined by the width. This would be width, which is going to define the distance between the forces Q and R. Same way, even force T as well as S seems to be appearing non-coplanar. So in the non-coplanar case, we have three-dimensional force system. The complexity of the problem is going to increase. Next, let's try to understand the principle of transmissibility. So as it was mentioned earlier, if the line of action, if the force is passing through, or the force can be placed anywhere on the line of action. Okay, so let me repeat it here. A force acting on a certain point on a rigid body can be considered to act at any other point on the line of action. So let's say this is the line of action of some force, and the force is directed towards positive x-axis. Let's call it as F1. So this F1 could be picked and placed over any point on this line, let's say point A or B. So I can place it at either point A or either at point B. It would be acceptable. So this is what it states about the principle of transmissibility of force, how the force can be transferred from one point to another point. Here the effect of force P is same whether it is going to act at point A or B or any other point on this line. The effect is going to be the same. Now after the principle of transmissibility of force, let's try to understand the system of force more deeply. So here, as in the first case we have taken as coplanar forces. So here if the two or more forces are acting on a body or a point, then it is going to form a system. So under that we have coplanar forces, the forces whose line of action are lying in the single plane, that is called as coplanar forces. And same way the system of forces is going to be formed when there are more than two forces and the line of action does not lie in the same plane. And here you can observe F1, F2 are in different planes. You can see here F1 and F6 might be collinear. These two will be in a single plane, but whereas F2 is going to be in different plane. Okay. So here the complexity is going to increase and the calculations or mathematical equations also increases parallelly. Next we have coplanar forces is further divided into three types. One is collinear, concurrent and non-concurrent. So in collinear, all the forces are going to pass through a single line itself, or this could form a one-dimensional force system. Whereas in concurrent, all the forces will be passing through a single point. So here it is a single line itself along that line itself. Okay, and here the key word is single point. And non-concurrent forces, they does not intersect at the same point. Instead, they would be intersecting at multiple number of points. Now let's try to understand all these three system of forces more deeply. To begin with, we have first got as coplanar concurrent forces, wherein the line of action is going to pass through a common point P. A weight is suspended by means of two ropes. Then here it is going to form a concurrent coplanar force system. Similarly, collinear forces, they will be acting along the same line of action. And this could be the simplest among all. Okay, so here you can see F1, F2 and F3 are along the same line, or you can even say this to be as in one-dimensional force system. And this is a 2D force system wherein you can realize the action of T1, T2 and W along the X and Y directions. That's how the complexity is going to increase. Next we have non-concurrent forces. So coplanar forces whose line of action does not meet at the common point, that is called as non-concurrent forces. So here you can see if I extend F1 upwards and extend further on the left to F2 on the left side, I will see here F1 and F2 are intersecting at this point. Let's call it as D. And if I extend F1 further down and F3 towards left side, I can see here the F1 and F3 are intersecting at point E. So multiple intersecting points we have got over here, and that's what makes the force system non-concurrent. It is highly impossible for us to form a concurrent force system out of these. So point of application of the forces is going to be different. If we even extend their line of action, they will never meet. They will never meet at a single point. It is definitely the multiple number of points. Next we have got coplanar parallel forces. So coplanar parallel forces are those whose line of action will be lying in the same plane, but they will be parallel to one another. So here you can observe from the diagram, that is R1, R2 and W, they are parallel to each other and they are lying in the XY plane only. If I define this as X-axis and Y-axis. Next we have got coplanar non-parallel forces. So the forces, line of action of the forces of the system will lie in the same plane, but they will not be parallel to each other. So likewise here in the diagram, you observe that R1 and R2 are parallel, but the other forces F1 and F2 are not at all parallel with either R1, R2. Even F1, F2 are also non-parallel. They will intersect at some other point. And even if we keep extending the line of action of all these, it will be definitely coplanar, but non-concurrent forces. We'll be able to, if we keep extending the line of action of all these forces, we may find, and surely we will find, the multiple intersecting points. Next, we have got coplanar parallel forces, which is further divided into coplanar parallel like forces and coplanar unlike parallel forces. So here in like and unlike, the forces are definitely going to be parallel. It's just that the orientation of forces would be opposite. The forces are going to have or separated by an angle of 180 degrees in case of unlike. And whereas in like, the forces will be directed towards same axis, and here the phase between the forces will be 0 degrees. So let's take a first case. In the system, the line of action is going to lie in the same plane and parallel to one another, and they will be directed, or they will have same sense. So this is how you can find F1, F2, F3 and F4. They are parallel to each other and they are acting downwards. Next case, we have got coplanar unlike parallel forces. So unlike means they will lie in the same plane, okay, but they would have opposite sense. The head of the arrow will be in opposite sense. So you can observe here in the diagram itself, F1, the head of F1 is down and F2 head is upwards. So that is what indicates these two forces are unlike. Next, we have got resultant of forces. So the resultant of forces is the collective effect of all those forces acting on a point or a body. Basically, we will be replacing all the forces that is acting on a point or a body with a single force that is called as resultant of forces.